We are about to make one of my favorite things I have ever made. I made this quilt block sweatshirt, I'll share it over here somewhere, a while back, and I ended up selling it super fast because so many people wanted it. I've made more here and there, and today I want another one, so I'm going to walk you guys through it with me. For this sweatshirt today, it is just going to be your basic sawtooth star quilt block, and I'm going to put it on a sweatshirt. So I've already gone through and cut out my pieces. We are going to use the no waste flying geese method, so I'll walk you guys through how to do that. For our background pieces, we need one square that is cut at 7 1/4 inches and 4 squares that are cut at 3 1/2 inches. For the main part of our star, we need one square that is cut at 6 1/2 inches and 4 squares that are cut at 3 7/8 inches. Then to be able to attach it to the sweatshirt, I am going to use some heat and bond. This is just generic Heat and Bond Light. I got it from Amazon. Normally I would cut out like an 11 or 12 inch piece, but I have a whole bunch of scraps, so I'm just going to piece these little 5-inch pieces together, and they're about, I think it's 11 1/2 inches long, so it should be perfect for the back. It doesn't have to cover the whole back, and I don't really want it on the edge because when the needle of your machine is going through this heat and bond, it can kind of gunk up your needle, get down into your machine, you have to clean it more. I mostly just want this in the middle of my quilt block, and then I'm going to stitch about 1/4 inch around the edge so that my ends will fray out a little bit. And then of course we need our sweatshirt. I like to go up a size because I put everything in the dryer and it always shrinks in the dryer, but it's gonna look cool no matter what. And you need your basic sewing machine, cutting tools, and then some little rulers. But that is all we need, so let's get into it. Before we jump into making our square, I forgot to mention we need some sort of marking tool. I just have this little pin here, and then probably some sort of iron too. I just have a little mini iron for now for ironing my little squares, and I'll use my bigger iron later to attach my heat and bond. To start out, we are going to take the big square of our background fabric and 2 squares of our star fabric. We're going to line these up right sides together, putting our corners together there, right sides together, putting these corners together. Then we're going to draw a line with our ruler right down the middle of this to give us a line to follow. We are going to clip this together so that it stays put. Now we're going to take this to our sewing machine, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch down this side, flip it, and sew 1/4 inch back up that side. You see, this kind of hangs off my edge, but I'll make sure I flip it up. So I made sure my foot did not catch that second piece. I am using a contrasting thread. If you notice, I've got black in here. I chose a black sweatshirt, and I want something that kind of is contrasting when I go to sew the quilt block onto the sweatshirt. So now I flipped it. I'm going to go down the other side. And these sweatshirts are so easy to make. You can make any sort of block you want. Today I was just feeling like being traditional sawtooth star block. These make great Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, any sort of gift. So now that we have this, I'm going to take my clips off. And now you can either take scissors or a rotary cutter and cut up this line to separate your 2 halves. I'm just going to use the other end of this just because that's what I have sitting here. Put it right on your line again, and we will just cut this apart. What you have now is 2 pieces that look like this. We're going to come back over to our little ironing spot, and we are going to press these open. And I just push my seams towards the little star part that I'm pushing out. Press that open, press this one. You can see there is a little bit of an overlap that we had between the 2, so you'll want to iron this one back first, this one back second, so that you don't mess up your seam. So now we have these 2 little weird looking heart shapes. We are going to repeat sort of the same process. We'll put one of our star blocks over here, our other small one with this one. Pull this down here where I can see it better. We line it up with the bottom down here. We're going to do the same thing. Take our ruler and draw a line from corner to corner. We will put clips on this to hold it still again. Set that one aside, and I will get this one. Now that we have the last square on each of our pieces, we're going to do the same process and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance down both sides of that line. And again, when you get to the end of that line, you just repeat the same process, pick it up, flip it around, and continue sewing 1/4 inch down that line again. And then you can actually chain stitch these together. So I will grab this one, sew down both sides of the line on this piece. I pull this around, I can cut this one off. Now we have both pieces. I'm taking my clips off, and then we will cut down that line that we drew, and we will be able to move on to the next step. Now see, there we have our flying geese. So let's press these open now. So there's one. It's a little off up there, you can see, but it's probably going to be fine. I'll see how off it is, and then I might trim it. I love these colors. This won't come out till after, but I'm wearing this to a Halloween party tonight. I'm just going to be a little quilt block because I didn't plan on doing anything today, and my friend invited me out last minute. I was like, what should I do? And I kind of wanted to make this sweatshirt anyway, and then I was like, well, I could just go as a quilt block. Sounds perfect to me. Now that we're mostly done with our star, we're just going to lay out the shape of our sawtooth star. So that'll be our middle. And then each of these flying geese will be on the edge of here. You can see it's a little off, so I think I might trim these. To trim flying geese, since these are cut at our finished quilt block size, will be 12.5 by 12.5 inches. So each flying geese ends up being 6.5 by 3.5. And this point right here should be a 1/4 inch in from the end. So we just kind of use that to measure out. So half of 6.5 is 3.25. So this point should be a 1/4 inch down and at 3.25. So that is what we will look for. So 1/4 inch down, 3.25 in. Flip it around, do the same thing over here. The top, I'm just going to have to do it in 2 little sections just because I have a small ruler right now. They do sell dedicated rulers for trimming flying geese. I just don't have any. So I just do this the hard way for now. Now I've gone through and trimmed all of my flying geese. The last part of this will be putting our block together. So my star is this orange. We need a background square in each corner. And then a flying geese on each side. And you can see it coming together already. We will sew the pieces together row by row. We'll sew the rows together, and then we'll have a finished piece. So I'm just going to start with these two. I'm just chain piecing these all together. And again, we're sewing with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Next, we'll move on to this one. We'll get this bottom row started. And then I'm just going to reach around and just keep clipping off my back pieces. You can see it starting to come together there. I'm just going to go ahead and sew this together so I can press them all at once. This piece, we'll sew these 2 right sides together. And you can pin or clip these if you want. They're small enough for me that I can just hold them together and not have to worry about them shifting too much. And we'll just work our way down. Slowly get through this whole block. Pinch this last one off. Pinch the one before that off. So now this piece is ready to be pressed. This one we're going to add our last little background square. So when it comes to ironing, we are going to want to what's called nest our seams. The seams of our middle section, we're going to want to go inwards, while the seams of our top and bottom sections, we want to go outwards. So to do this, I'm just going to start with this way and then push this way. Then now that seam goes towards the outside. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just going to press it to set it, then press it open. Just give kind of the whole thing a little press so it's nice and flat. I either wasn't very great with my trimming or I wasn't very great with my seam allowances. You can see this one's a 1/4 inch away from the edge like it should be. This one, not so much. That one goes right up to the edge. We don't want that, but it's good enough for me. Now to get our seams for this middle section right here, to go to the outside, we're going to want to push from this angle. So with it this way, we'll flip it open, then slowly press this, making sure our seam is going outwards. We will do the same thing over here. press this, set our seam, and then roll it out. Oh, it is so cute. I'm loving this already. Now, before I press my last one, since I've been chain stitching all of these, I'm gonna go ahead and put these two together. So this one was like this, we'll flip it like this, and our seams, since they're going opposite ways, will fold right into each other like that. So I'm gonna go through, match my seams up, and since this is a longer piece, I will place some clips. I'm going to put a clip on the seam, line this one up, I'll place a clip on this seam, and then that's probably all the clips I'll place. I might put one in the middle here. And then I'll put one down here on the end to be safe. And now I'm going to go ahead and sew this row together. Sometimes you have to lift your presser foot up so that it doesn't bend to that seam backwards. I'm so excited to wear this tonight. And now we are going to go ahead and cut our seam. We will snip this apart. Now this, we're going to do the same thing like we did last time. Press our seam, press it open. Flip it around, we'll do the same thing over here. So it looks like only that one flying geese was kind of off because everything else has had that 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I think that was just something I messed up. We can go ahead and press this, but I'm just gonna wait till the end, do both of those at the same time. Again, this will go down here, flipping it, since our seams, again, are pushed opposite ways, they will nest into each other, and I will put another clip there. Make sure both of our seams line up. I'm gonna put one in the middle just because this is a chunky little seam. So now we go back to the sewing machine to finish our block. If you're ever curious why I use this little piece to get my machine started, my machine likes to eat my fabric. So if yours does that too, if you start with a little piece of fabric, it'll keep your machine from doing that because it's already started sewing. Now we'll sew down our last seam of the block. I'm so excited. I just love making these. I love seeing people's reactions when they see them because it's not a normal thing to see. Now it doesn't really matter which way my seams go. So I'm just going to press them down, give it a press to set it, flip it. Oh, these are so cute. I'm so glad I went with these colors. The tension with my machine is getting a little weird right here. I don't really know what happened, but whatever. It still works. No one will ever notice. There we go. There we have our sawtooth star quilt block. And we are ready to attach our heat and bond. To attach the heat and bond, we're going to go to the back of our fabric. And I'm just going to lay these like kind of centered. Put them like this. With heat and bond, the one side you can see it's kind of scratchy looking. This has adhesive on it. That is what you're going to attach to your blocks. And then once that's attached, this paper comes off, and that is what you attach to your sweatshirt. And again, you could cover the whole back. I don't really need the whole back covered. I just need the main section of the middle covered, and I'm gonna sew around the edges. I'm gonna sew 1/4 inch in around my whole block when I add it to the sweatshirt because I want my edges to fray a little bit. So I'm just gonna keep this kind of towards the center. About like that, and we're just going to press this, but I'm going to take this over to my big iron and do it over there because it'll be a lot quicker. So I will be right back. All right, I'm back. I have attached this to the back of my quilt block. Again, I've got a lot of open space, but that is all right with me. Here you can see the front of it. It's a little wrinkly, but it's okay. It's just going to be put on clothing. I'd be a little bit more worried if I was using this in an actual quilt, but it is perfect enough for me. So we'll set this aside for a second. Now we've got our sweatshirt here. We're going to want to mark the center of the front of our sweatshirt. So to do that, we are just going to fold it in half. So we're just going to lay that out. And I'm just going to take my iron and do like a quick little press so that it gives me a crease that I can center my star on. So we're just going to lay this out here. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but I can see my seam that runs right up through there. And I'm just going to line this up. I can kind of see where my crease was down here. I can see it up here. And it's pretty much in line with both of those points. So I'm going to fold half of this back so that it stays in place. An easy way to get this paper off, if you take a sewing pin and just kind of rub it on there, it will separate and you can pull this off. And I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. Shiny, you can tell the adhesive is on there. And then just work on peeling the rest of this off. So I have that side off. I'm going to flip this back up. I'm going to make sure this is still even. And I am going to take my iron and press it to help attach that. And again, this is just using my little mini iron. I do want to take this over to my big iron and give it a better press. But this is just a quick little to help it stay. And now I'm going to repeat the same thing. Fold it up. Just take this. You just scratch it across that. And then it helps to be able to peel that off. I'll flip that back down. Now I'll do the same thing. I'm going to press with my little mini iron. This is going to be so cute. I cannot wait to wear this. I'm going to be a cute little quilt block tonight. I'm going to go through and iron this with my big iron to make sure it is completely bonded to the sweatshirt. And then I will take it to the sewing machine. So let me go iron and I will be right back. Now that we are ready to sew this together, I've gone through, pressed this with my iron. Now we are ready to sew this to the sweatshirt. I am just going to do a stitch about 1/4 inch around the edges. You can stitch in the ditch if you want. That'll help to hold it to the sweatshirt even better. I'm not too worried about it, and with my black thread, I was only planning on having this outside edge done anyway. You can break off a bunch of your extra little threads if you want. Now, the other big thing to make sure we do when we sew this is to separate the sweatshirt. So we are going to pull this out so that we are not sewing the front and back of the sweatshirt together. So you just put this under your presser foot and you just have to kind of work your way over. And then just make sure the back of the sweatshirt stays back there. Come around and then you can start at any point. I do not plan on back stitching until I get to the very end. So I'm going to start on a seam so it's not as obvious. And then I'm just going to sew like 1/4 inch all the way around with just a straight stitch. I've done these with decorative stitches before. Those are super fun. But today I'm just feeling a plain old straight stitch. So you just start going, work your way down. And since my heat and bond doesn't go all the way to my edges, you can see it's hanging up. I just make sure the sweatshirt's nice and flat. The quilt block is nice and flat against it right before it goes under the presser foot. And I'm just working my way around. Now I'm to my edge. I'm about 1/4 inch away. So I'm going to lift my presser foot, just kind of work the sweatshirt around. Try not to put too much pressure on the needle or on the sweatshirt. Just be gentle with it, and it'll work with you. These sweatshirts have become super popular lately. So if you do end up trying this, please let me know down in the comments. All of my social media channels are tagged down there. Please tag me. I would love to see them. I love to see what everybody comes up with. You can do different types of blocks, do different colors with your sawtooth star. There's so many different ways you can customize these. I've seen where people have made Christmas presents for their whole family and every person got a different color star. And I cannot wait to see this when it's done. I'm so excited. My boyfriend's been wanting me to make one. One of my t-shirts that I wear all the time has, I use like a butterfly fabric, like a purple butterfly fabric. I wear that a lot. Again, just make sure you're not stretching either of your fabrics too much. Work your way nice and easy through there. My last long side. Oh, it's so cute. Now, I do believe that this would have been much easier had I cut my heat and bond to the right size, because it wouldn't be moving around as much on me. But this still works because I need to use up my scraps anyway, so. And for our last little bit, connecting back to the beginning. And I am going to backstitch a couple times. And then now I'll just slide it out from under my machine, trim any loose threads. And there's a few other random long ones. And I did sew this so that the raw edges were out. So the more I wear and wash this, these are going to fray. And when they fray, more threads are going to gradually appear. But whatever, it works. I'll just take these extra long ones off and I cannot wait to wear this. You guys, there's our quilt block sweatshirt. Sweatshirt that I bought is a little bit big on me, but whatever. I'll wash and dry it. It'll fit. Not a huge fan of how wrinkly it got around the edges, but I think the more I wash and dry it, the better it's going to look. So before I wear it tonight, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in the washer, do a little rinse and spin cycle, put it in the dryer. I think it'll be perfect. But I love it. I love it. I can't wait to wear it all the time now. Now that it's getting cold, the sweatshirt's nice and thick. It's going to be perfect. I can't wait. And again, if you like this tutorial, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me so much. Gives me motivation to keep creating, keep making more things, keep making more tutorials for you. Let me know down in the comments if you tried this sweatshirt before, what you did differently, what colors you want to try. Although I think I'll like the look of the raw edge fraying out. I do really like the look of the decorative stitches around the edge too. But no matter what, I think it looks super cool. I can't wait to wear it. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. But until next time.